Hey everybody, welcome to Lore Friday. DM Gallibond here, and today we're going to continue looking at Chapter 6 from the Out of the Abyss campaign, which focuses on the adventures in the Sverneblin city of Blingdenstone. This time we examine the Pudding Court, which is an area of the city that has been overtaken by the Mad Pudding King and his beloved children. Hundreds and hundreds of ooze monsters. So the theme of this particular adventure is to get intelligence on the Pudding King and his ooze monster minions without being slimed. I got slimed, Ray. The setting is the ancient deep gnome city of Blingdenstone, which is now mostly abandoned except for a few hundred hardy refugees that are trying to reclaim the ruined city after it was plundered by their ancient foes. And the hook for this particular adventure is that PCs have heard reports and possibly even seen evidence of slime or ooze creatures passing through Blingdenstone, all making their way to a portion of the old Deep Gnome City that the returning residents have not yet tried to enter due to all of the oozes. Will you check it out for them, brave adventurers? So, if you've been watching this far, thank you. Please, I'd love it if you would subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video, and click the post notification bell so that you can be notified every time new content goes live on the channel. Now let's take a look at what this adventure is all about. So the first thing that the PCs notice when they enter this particular area is that most of the surfaces, the walls, the ceilings, and even the floors in some places are covered in slimy ooze monsters. As they venture into the main large cavern, they see a chamber that was once the seat of Blingdenstone's government. And the centerpiece of this is a giant stone sphere, 150 feet in diameter, with large ramps leading to 3 doors in the lower third of the structure, giving the effect of an enormous stone ball mounted on a tripod. So as the PCs take in this sight, they're greeted by a disembodied voice. "What's this? What's this? Visitors? Now? Not yet! We're not ready! Go away, pests! I will call upon thee and all of Blingdenstone to announce our glad tidings of the faceless lord to come at the proper time! Begone!" As the voice speaks, the PCs are able to see literally hundreds of ooze monsters dripping, surging, flowing, and sliding around through this chamber. They don't seem hostile at the moment, but the PCs get a feeling that if they attack one of the monsters, all of the others will attack them in turn. Now, as a DM, you may want to ask your players for an insight check to see if they can gauge the reaction of the oozes and slime monsters if they take any sort of threatening actions. But if your players are particularly reckless, you may just want to give them the warning by describing a sort of malevolent feeling that seems to emanate from the oozes toward them as the voice finishes speaking. So, as written, the oozes don't attack unless provoked, but only the most foolish or inexperienced players look at a huge cavern filled with hundreds of oozes and think, yeah, my bundle of torches and a few flasks of oil, that'll do the job. So if the PCs poke around, they are in danger of being attacked, in some cases by oozes placed as guardians of certain locations, in other cases by a different monster that lurks here because a cavern full of oozes seems like a rich hunting ground. Eventually, the PC should get the hint that a retreat is the wisest course of action, and taking the intelligence back to the Diggermatics can buy them some time to develop a strategy and perhaps recruit an army to help them fight the oozing menace. So, the most common enemies that you're going to find in this adventure are... Wait. I bet you can't guess. Well, of course. oozes, black puddings, which are CR4 monsters, gray oozes, which are CR1 half monsters, ochre jellies, which are CR2 monsters, and even a few gelatinous cubes, which are also CR2 monsters. Now, the toughest potential encounter? Well, if the PCs decide to attack the ooze monsters on their own, they're quickly gonna get overwhelmed. Now, as a DM, I would suggest adding 2d6 ooze monsters every round of combat until the PCs realize there's no way they're going to win this fight and they decide to run away, if it's not already too late for them. Now, if you're a kind DM, you'll sort of have the ooze monsters all converge from one direction and sort of leave a pathway of escape. If your characters, go out and go poking around and get themselves out into the middle of this area and then start attacking ooze monsters, well, it might just be time to teach them a lesson if they're that dumb. And it's like sometimes players just need some tough love. And watching their characters get dissolved into ooze and slime monsters, that might be the lesson that when you see a room full of oozes, you don't attack. Hidden in one corner of this area is a terrifying monster known as a gibbering mouther, which is a CR2 monster. Now, it's not terrifying because of its challenge rating. It's terrifying because it feeds on ooze monsters and on flesh. Its attacks can also drive victims mad and blind them. So, just right there, anything that's going to eat ooze monsters, that's probably something you want to stay away from. All right, now, my favorite element of the adventure is the architecture in this quarter. It's the most stunning architecture in all of Blingdenstone. This giant stone orb, for example, is said to have once been the seat of the Deep Gnome government, but it is described as having been scoured out by the oozes and slime creatures. But imagine a 150-foot diameter ball with 3 entrances spaced evenly around the lower portion would make an amazing setting for some kind of labyrinthine dungeon. Or, if you wanted to run an adventure based in Blingdenstone after the events of the Out of the Abyss campaign, you could imagine how the Deep Gnomes have rebuilt the interior and the kinds of Sverneblin government officials, functionaries, bureaucrats, and diplomats that you might find there. Now we want to take a look at 5 different homebrew adaptations that you can make from this particular adventure. Now, I'm only going to mention 5, but obviously, with your own spin on it, your own creativity, you can probably come up with many, many, many more. So, number 1, this could be the government quarters for a Deep Gnome city once the oozes are removed and the structures are rebuilt. Number 2, this sphere could be a spacefaring mind flayer colony that teleported into a cavern in your game world. Now, local folk have been disappearing, and the party tracks them here. Now they must infiltrate the colony, free these slaves, deal with the mind flayers, and slay the elder brain at the heart of the colony. So you could then take this 150-foot sphere and change it from stone to metallic, and it might be a gnome spaceship, complete with elaborate interior machinery and chambers. 4, you could turn the sphere into a puzzle box where all 3 doors are closed and a different combination or key opens each one. Now, once inside, it's a combination of encounters, traps, mazes, and puzzles. And depending on the choices the PCs make, they can emerge from the same door or from a different door, and each door leads to a different plane of existence or a different dimension. Now, how do they get back home? And finally, number 5. The sphere is a giant trap. Once the PCs enter, all the portals close and the sphere is released to roll into the caldera of a volcano, where it is melted by the lava along with everyone and everything that's inside it. Are you going to be able to escape in time? Bum, bum, bum! Oozes and ooze monsters, they've been around since the days of basic D&D. So this particular adventure would work in a game using rules from any old edition of D&D. And last but not least, if you've been watching this far, thank you so much. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video, and click that post notification bell so that you can be notified every time new content drops on the channel. Next time, we're going to wrap up looking at Chapter 6 of this particular campaign by talking about the battle for Blingdenstone. We're also going to reveal some changes that are going to be coming for Lore Friday in the future. I hope they're changes that you're going to like, and I hope you'll find them exciting. Thank you again so much for stopping by today. My name is DM Gallibond. This has been Lore Friday. Take care, everybody. Good night.